We have had opening weekend after opening weekend after opening weekend. We had junior in September, college in early October, AHL last week, and now it's ECHL and SPHL, both starting off on the same night, Friday, October 18th. We will have a full slate for you on FloHockey. We will also have on Friday night an ECHL game of the week live on social, just as I described for the AHL. Kicking us off, Kansas City Mavericks versus the Wichita Thunder. Mavericks are the Seattle Kraken ECHL affiliate. The Thunder are affiliated with the San Jose Sharks. And Kansas City last season made it all the way to the Kelly Cup Finals and also was the regular season champion and one of the very best teams in the league. We'll see what their roster looks like on opening night, but we'll have a lot of preview content for you on FloHockey as well. Before we get to that, though, let's talk. You can go read that one on your own time, but since you're already listening to the podcast, we might as well break it down. So real quick, coming into the season, major storyline, can anyone stop the Florida Everblades? They have won 3 consecutive Kelly Cups, and I cannot stress enough, we talked with Patrick Williams a couple weeks ago about how difficult it is to repeat as a champion at the minor league level, and Hershey has done it. And now we've had Florida was the very first team to three-peat in the ECHL. Can they make it 4 in a row? There are going to be some differences. They'll still be able to have a number of the veteran players that they're used to having, but they are now affiliated with the St. Louis Blues, so that's a different dynamic. They were affiliated with the Florida Panthers, so that changes things a little bit. St. Louis has not typically been a team that has utilized the ECHL as much. That seems to be changing, and I think that's actually changing across the board. More and more teams are sending players to get extra seasoning in the ECHL and then giving them that chance at the AHL level. It's a great way to do it, especially with the younger players that are fresh out of junior hockey, players that are, coming right out of college. Some of them need that extra time. The ECHL provides the challenge. The league continues to get younger, and as a result, you're seeing a lot more of an emphasis on development. So we'll see how St. Louis interacts with the Florida Everblades, but a chance for a three-peat. And you think about all the things that have been going on in Florida away from the ice. The Everblades had to cancel some of their preseason games. So the hurricanes and everything else, there's been a lot of distraction and everything like that. So hopefully the good people in Florida will have an opportunity to take a break from all of the craziness that's been their last couple of weeks and get a chance to enjoy some hockey out there, and including, you've got the defending Stanley Cup champion not far away either with the Florida Panthers. Another thing I'm really looking forward to in this ECHL season, 2 new teams, the Tahoe Night Monsters, co-owned by Tim Tebow. Yes, that Tim Tebow. He is the co-owner, and yes, they are based in Lake Tahoe and in the Lake Tahoe region. And boy, I wonder how difficult those free agent discussions were. Hey, would you like to come live in Tahoe for an entire hockey season? Yeah, sign me up. Where do I sign up for that? I'll take that any day of the week. Also, the Bloomington Bison will be in the league as well. They are owned by the same ownership group that owns the Indy Fuel, so another ECHL team. They are affiliated with the New York Rangers, and if I didn't mention it, the Tahoe Night Monsters, of course, affiliated with the Golden Knights. But the Bloomington Bison, a red, white, and blue color scheme, and black in that as well. They have a bison on their jersey. That bison is wearing a top hat, just like Abe Lincoln does, the stovetop hat. And I saw their preseason game this weekend, and I don't want to alarm you, but they're going to be skating out of an inflatable bison with a top hat, with the stovetop hat on. It looks incredible, and I'm sure we will clip that and post that onto FloHockey for you very soon because I love it, and it was a lot of fun. But for the Bison on the ice, things are going to be really difficult this year because they're in the Central Division, and I think the balance of power in the ECHL, even though we know that the Idaho Steelheads out in the mountain, the Kansas City Mavericks out in the mountain have been very tough. The teams in the South, with Florida in particular, being very tough. They are going to be very good teams, but you look at the rosters that have been put together by Toledo, which is a perennial power in the league, Fort Wayne, which is one of the most historic franchises in all of minor league hockey, and then you also look at the Cincinnati Cyclones, who will be getting a lot of help from their new affiliate, the Toronto Maple Leafs, which have been very liberal with their use of the ECHL to develop prospects. We are talking about a wagon of a division here. And the way the ECHL playoffs are set up, only one of those teams is going to come out of the division and have an opportunity to win the Kelly Cup. And will they beat up each other so much that it makes room for everybody else? But I do think if you want to watch some real high quality hockey, take a look at that Central Division games when you see Toledo or Fort Wayne on the schedule. Indy is going to be quite good. Kalamazoo, Iowa, Bloomington. These are teams. I really think the balance of power is with Fort Wayne, with Toledo. Toledo has Brandon Hawkins back for another season, one of the great scorers in this league. Fort Wayne has a mix of veteran guys. They brought in Alex Aliardi, who played for the Rapid City Rush last year, an ECHL All-Star, a veteran guy that's won a Kelly Cup. So there's a lot to look forward to in that Central Division. And I call games for the Iowa Heartlanders occasionally. And so I'm going to get a chance to see these teams a lot. So maybe a little bit of a Central Coast bias. We don't have coasts over here. But that's kind of the thing, is I think there's going to be a lot of talent in that division, and we're going to see a lot of scoring in those games. But definitely on Friday night and throughout the weekend, make sure you are tuning in to the ECHL on FloHockey.